Okay, hey everyone, welcome to the Field Between. My name is Ahmed.
And I'm Yasmin.
And it's the day before inauguration. TikTok is gone.
And then back again.
And then back. A lot has happened.
Yeah, we're both sick.
I don't know if I am.
Really? I thought you were.
I think it's psychosomatic.
Because I'm sick.
Because you're sick.
I'm not that sick, though. I've got a cold. But
Yeah.
I'm feeling better. You took really good care of me all day. The one nice thing about being sick, I'm going to sound like a baby, but it's really fun getting taken care of all day.
Yeah.
Ahmed just made me a series of hot drinks. It was nice.
Made you hot drinks, hot towels.
For my head because I had a headache, and now it's gone.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
The hot towel thing is nice. I might actually just start doing that for myself. I might start also putting towels in the freezer.
Wow.
I feel like alternating hot, cold towels is
Creating like a mini spa experience.
good. Yeah. And I also, what is it? It's going to be like minus 10 degrees here soon.
Yeah, y'all, we're bracing for 3 days of like intense cold. I think it's going to get up to like between 13 and 16 each day, but like lows of like, -5, negative, what the hell? I don't know.
Yeah. So we live in a pretty drafty apartment with single pane windows, very large single pane windows.
Like massive.
That around the windowsill, there are gaps where you can really feel the draft coming in. And so we kind of plugged those up with some scrap fabric and extra blankets and stuff.
By we, Ahmed meets Ahmed. I did not contribute, but
Yeah.
I'm really grateful. It made a huge difference, actually. We
But
already are warmer.
Yeah, it did make a huge difference. It's actually pretty warm up here
Yeah.
where we're podcasting on our little loft area. But the other thing is I've just been boiling spices all day, and it's kind of nice.
Yeah. I feel like we're like in ancient times. We're
It's
just like
very,
trying to stay warm.
What are
apartment.
those people? Is it the Danish who do the hygge?
Yeah. Like, yeah, coziness, like lighting candles and stuff.
It's very hygge.
It is. Yeah, it is very. I don't actually know how it's pronounced. Hygiene, maybe? I don't know. But yeah.
Hygge.
Yeah, whatever it is, we definitely are.
HYGG.
Mm-hmm. We're achieving it.
Yeah. My spice mix that to boil: hibiscus, ginger, mint, clove, a little bit of cinnamon.
This sounds like your Bissap recipe, minus
It
the
is.
mint.
It's pretty much that.
So you're just making Bissap for like all day?
Yeah,
Wait, when you make Bissap, you don't put mint in it, do you?
I do.
Oh, shit. So you literally are just making Bissap.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it smells lovely.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah.
The little star anise.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah. So the house smells great.
Yeah,
It's
today
more
was a
humid.
nice, like, cozy day. Even though the sickness was a bummer and the headache all day was a bummer, it was nice to kind of just have a chill, relaxed day and just kind of laze around. We haven't done that for a
We
while.
watched Snowpiercer.
We did.
You finally saw that.
It was
What did you-
good.
Yeah.
It wasn't subtle, but that director's got like a really fun, distinctive style.
Yeah.
I was glad I saw it.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's work?
It's okay.
It's okay. It's going good.
I've been a little overwhelmed, but I've got a new schedule and that's going to change everything.
Yeah,
Inshallah.
it was funny. You came home. You came home from like a really, I guess, demoralizing day at
Well, I
work.
was working on a Saturday at the office,
You were
which is
working on a
never
Saturday,
fun.
and you worked
Yeah.
like 12, 14 hours.
Oh,
You
no.
left at 10. You came back at 8.
I think no. I got
Yeah.
there I like sat down at my desk at noon. Wasn't quite that early.
Really?
Yeah, I left here like right before the cafe started. So I left here at
Okay.
noon, and then I think I like waited an hour to start, and then I got home at 9. So I worked like 8 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, still on a Saturday.
On a Saturday. You came back, you were so demoralized, and you were just like, I felt like I had to pick you back up again.
Yeah.
And then you just like kind of sat down, you ate some whatever snacks, you drank some tea,
Uh-huh.
and then you just started sketching out on a blank piece of paper just days of the week. And you're like, okay, I think I figured it
I
out.
was just like, I feel like it's like a math problem I have to solve. I'm teaching 2 new preps, and one of them is like exactly related to my research, which is so much fun, and it's a smaller class, and like I'm absolutely loving it. And the other one I was kind of dreading because it's not something that I've like, it's just like a lot more general than what I normally do. So I have to brush up a lot. Like it's basically the Abrahamic faiths. The class is called something else, but it's like Judaism, Christianity, Islam. But now that I'm in it, I'm actually really enjoying it. Like it's really cool to go back to like the Hebrew Bible. Like I TA'd Hebrew Bible my very first semester of grad school, so like a million years ago. And I'm rusty as hell. But so I mean, I don't know. I enjoy like relearning the material, but like it's a lot of work to relearn material well enough to teach it and teach it confidently. Just like a lot of work. Anyway.
Yeah,
so,
I think the confidently is the key word here. I feel like you're
Yeah.
probably doing a great job, but
I'm
you just
overdoing it.
have high
to,
standards.
Yeah, I need to have less high standards. But like I really care about teaching, and it's hard.
Well, you just got to teach the kids. Christians go to church, Muslims go to Muslim church,
Yeah.
Jews go to
Jewish church, right? Yeah,
and
no,
then
it's good.
that's really it.
Yeah, no, my students are actually really great in
Muslims
that class.
live in Texas, Jews live in New York, Christians live everywhere else.
Oh, Muslims also live in New York.
No,
Yeah,
they live in
Texas.
Texas.
There are a lot of them in Texas for some
Oh,
reason.
I guess Michigan.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. And then I have to like work on this article that I've been like limping around long for forever. And just like all the normal stuff feels overwhelming lately. Maybe because it's cold, there's not much sun. But like, anyway, I don't want to go on too much. But I appreciate you picking me up because I've been feeling a little down. And today was kind of
Yeah,
nice.
I thought it. I know this wasn't the case, but it felt like you were coming home from a day of just being bullied at school. That's kind of like the vibe. You're just so sad.
Yeah, that's funny because I didn't actually even feel that sad until I like you asked me how my day was, and then I realized that I was sad.
And you're like,
Yell. Anyway,
yeah.
I think we can share this, right? You Mipsters who we're good friends with and we've collaborated with before on different projects are now helping sponsor the cafe.
Yeah.
So that's really
Shout
exciting
out.
because we don't have to charge, which is really nice. It feels more like just a community thing.
Yeah. We did try to run the cafe kind of at cost because we couldn't really pay for it out of pocket anymore because I am still unemployed. But even then, even though we weren't really charging much, the transaction aspect of it, I felt like, I don't know, got in the way of something. I can't quite articulate it, but it's nice to not have to just be like, come on in, grab a drink, and like just hang out.
Yeah, just like an extended social space for people, which is especially in the cold here. It's so nice to have that kind of warmth and yeah.
Yeah. It's also nice because we live in an area that's like kind of, it's hard to get to, I guess, if you're taking the bus and you're someone who has to take the bus everywhere anyway. But it's not really within walking distance of where people live. And if you're driving, it's hard to park. So like it would be kind of annoying to just be like, I came all the way here, you know?
Yeah.
And,
I mean,
now you're charging me.
it all depends on like what your vision is, but I think the thing that's been really good about this instructive is to learn that like, yeah, ultimately I think our vision is more of a nonprofit and not like which is exciting and like a community thing, you know, not like a for-profit business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you served hot chocolate this weekend.
made a hot chocolate. That was a
Which
big hit.
Is a hot chocolate that you often make me, so I can attest that it's excellent. It's very, very good.
Yep.
Yeah.
People liked it. We met a lot of new people. Well, actually, I guess I did because I also had a full work day.
Right? You're working at the cafe?
Pretty much, I had a 14-hour work day. It was
Yeah.
crazy. I was like started making chai at 10.
Mm-hmm.
Then we finished up at like 7:38.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun. All right. What else?
Well, I guess in our personal life or on to the news?
What's happening else in our personal life? Anything?
In our
Any other
personal life?
juicy details we can give these people just begging for it?
Ahmed's wearing a cute robe right now.
No, don't say that.
It's a juicy detail.
Don't say that.
No, not really. Honestly, like it sounds silly, but I do feel really restored from just a day of doing nothing, especially now that my headache is finally gone. I don't know what did it, if it was the towels or
It's the
taking enough
towels.
Advil, but
It's the towels.
it feels really nice to have a clear head and not have my head ringing. That was uncomfortable.
It's the towels and my special tonic tea that I made.
It's probably true.
Yeah.
Oh, just like we ordered in groceries, I feel bad. Our car is broken, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah, that is a bummer.
You know what's really
Very
cute?
inconvenient time because I also need to. Actually, speaking of juicy details, one of the things I have to do is a stool sample test,
Well,
and
you
I
can
can't
wait
do
for
it
the
right
car
now.
for that.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, I
Yeah.
can't do it because I don't want to take it on the bus.
I mean,
You
it's
know what
so
I'm saying?
cold, honestly. It wouldn't be a big deal if you put it in a bag. But yeah,
I'm not trying
it
to
would
take
feel
it on the
uncomfortable,
bus.
I'm sure.
Yeah. I also don't want to, like, do it and then have it in, like, the little specimen cup and then for whatever reason not be able to get out even on the bus and then have to put it in our freezer.
What? Why would you not be able to get out on the bus? What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Oh.
It's snowing.
No.
What if the bus shuts down?
A bus doesn't really shut down just as late as hell.
Yeah, what if it's late and I just don't
Yeah.
feel like riding the bus?
Yeah. I think, yeah, your job tomorrow is to figure out our car.
Yeah.
But what was I saying? I don't know. Yeah, our car is broken because of like the salt corroding the battery or something.
Yes, we think.
Yeah. That's our theory.
That's your theory?
Yeah, that's my theory
Okay.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling grateful for the cafe and for community. That feels really nice. Just trying to stay balanced.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry you're having a hard time with balance.
Thanks.
It's really sad to watch.
You make you sound so much sadder than I think it is.
Yeah.
It's not that sad.
It's like one of those when you watch one of the commercials with the puppies that have been abused
What?
and you're just like, oh, I wish I could help.
No, it's going to be good. I think also Saturday when I was at work, I wasn't very efficient. And I think in retrospect, I was probably like starting to get sick. So
Yeah.
inshallah, now that my headache is gone,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have a short and sweet but productive work day tomorrow.
Reproductive.
Work day, not reproductive day.
Reproductive.
Not reproductive.
You better not be reproductive. What are you-
while I'm at work.
Whoa.
Yeah, and really we're just going to try and stay warm and not freeze this week. That's the plan.
It's a really good plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Should I update on my unemployment?
Yeah, tell us.
Still unemployed.
Mm-hmm.
If you got a job, let me know. I do feel like let's see, it's been 2 months now.
Has it been a full 2 months?
I left November 7th.
Wow, that's crazy. It doesn't feel like that long.
So it's a little more than 2 months. It's
I
like-
think because of the holidays and stuff, it didn't feel like, yeah.
That's true, yeah. So I guess first and foremost, I do worry every day that I, wrecked our future financially, but that is what it is. I don't think that's going to go away until I get another job.
You mean the worry?
Yeah.
I think we're happier though, honestly.
So what I will say is the other thing that I've noticed in the last couple of weeks is that something that I'm grateful for is I'll wake up and be in pain, which is not new, right? But some days it is so bad that like I just don't want to get out of bed, right? Like I'm just like, it doesn't feel like my body's ready. And it's not like I want to stay in bed until noon or anything, but like if I want to wake up really start getting up at 9, it feels nice. Because I feel like if you force yourself out and your body's still like not ready, it just kind of makes you annoyed in a way that just kind of like sets the tone for the rest of your day. You're just kind of like on edge.
And then I feel like that trickles over to everything. Like you weren't eating well, you didn't have time to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Like a lot of health
Yeah,
things.
it kind of does. Yeah, like I said, it sets the tone for the day in a way that's like, well, if I'm not going to take care of myself in this way, then like what the fuck does anything else
so
matter?
maybe that's something to revisit when you start working again. But yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I feel like it's been a really special time, honestly. I don't want to I mean, it's just going to sound cheesy. And so I don't think it's the case that like money doesn't matter because like you need to be at a baseline where your material needs are met and like you have the security of knowing you have savings. So like we're really grateful, alhamdulillah, to be in that place right now. But it has been nice. Like, we are spending just like drastically less than we were before.
Mhm.
And I genuinely do feel like, I mean, I'm stressed with work, but that's like not related to this situation. I do feel like we're really happy. And like, it is kind of sweet to feel like we're in a moment. And I don't think this is going to be forever. Like, I will definitely go on a spending spree once our once our income goes back up. But like, if we have any extra money, it pretty much goes towards like
New
events
coffee
and
grinder.
friends. And like, yeah, it just feels like it feels nice to be in a place like that.
Yeah, no, it is really nice. I was also thinking about how, again, like up until the last little bit there, the job that I've had has like been, I want to say mostly low stress or like at least flexible enough that I was able to take advantage of it in a way that I found fulfilling. But I was thinking, I was just like, oh, I never actually took off much time that wasn't related to medical stuff, like in the 10 years plus that I've been working.
Even for like vacations and stuff?
I didn't really go on vacations all that often. Like, I think for vacations, I probably took off a cumulative, like in the 10 years that I've been working, like just for time off and not to like be like, oh, I'm either in pain or like dealing with like medical stuff, having to follow up on doctor's appointments. Maybe like a cumulative of like 30-ish days.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I guess even you and I, we took off for Egypt, but besides that, it's been mostly like a day here or like a few days there for like New York or smaller trips. Yeah.
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 Or for me, like I would just, because I always worked remotely, like I just didn't really
Right.
take off, you know what I'm saying? So I think there was a level of burnout that I just didn't recognize. And yeah, no, it does feel nice. Like I do feel like I'm getting something back that I didn't even realize I'd lost.
Oh, I'm
You
so
know.
glad to hear that. And you also like are just doing so much for us, which I really appreciate. Like you've been cooking so much and like, I don't know, doing little projects around the house. And like, there's no way in retrospect that we could have started the cafe while you were working. There just was no bandwidth. But I
Yeah.
think now that it's started, inshallah, if you do go back, there's a way that we can still keep it going in some form.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be as robust as it is now, but yeah, it's really nice to have this time.
It's true.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the news or items. Do you have anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't have like an article or anything because I honestly wasn't feeling that well most of the day to prep for this. But the two main things I want to talk about on very different levels of seriousness is the ceasefire and then TikTok.
Yeah.
Which one do you want to start with?
Let's talk about ceasefire because I think that's important. What are your thoughts? Good, bad?
No, I'm so glad. I mean,
You're happy it happened.
of course,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, good.
I'm so happy to see people in Gaza celebrating. It was, I mean, it's the bare minimum, right? But I'm glad that there will hopefully be a break in people's immediate intensity of like death and suffering.
Mm-hmm.
It is just heartbreaking though to watch videos of people going back to like absolute rubble.
Yeah.
Like it's just crazy that they've destroyed all the infrastructure. It also just, and they do this every time, but like, I don't know why they announced it. I mean, I know why they announced a ceasefire like a few days before it took place, and then like Israel bombed the shit out of Gaza.
Well, that's
In those
a
few
pattern
days.
that's existed always,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
like
I know.
anytime there's like a momentary truce or a cessation in hostility or whatever, or if there is another event that is happening that provides some level of coverage for what Israel's doing, they'll just ramp up the destruction.
Yeah.
And they were even bombing and killing people after the ceasefire had already been signed and approved. Netanyahu tried to, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of delay the game a little bit by being like, well,
we
they
need
have
the
to
names,
vote
yeah.
on it.
And then we
like,
need the names of the hostages.
yeah. Yeah, and so because they didn't get the names of 3 hostages who were set to be released in a matter of hours, he, bombed Gaza again and killed, I think, like 19 people. So it's,
And we'll see how long it holds, honestly, right? Because like the alleged ceasefire, I mean, obviously we hope it holds, but the alleged ceasefires that have been like between like Lebanon and Israel have not really held. properly.
No, the frustrating thing is that they do hollow out the meaning of like any word that is supposed to like reference a milestone, right? Like a ceasefire is supposed to mean like the end of
Right.
end of fire. Like I know this like stupid.
I
Like,
mean,
to
troops
say,
are
but
withdrawing, and like it seems like the level of bombing has gone down. But right, you would think the ceasefire would mean like absolute end of hostilities. Yeah.
but what happens is that the U.S. always gives Israel like an ace up its sleeve and a backdoor to all of these agreements. So with Lebanon, the U.S. essentially guaranteed Israel that it would back it up or that it wouldn't do anything if Israel struck Lebanon, because if it defined, or if it sensed that there was some sort of threat or something like that. And it was all vague and like undefined, but essentially it is like messaging to Israel. It's like, well, yeah, you can kind of just keep doing what you want to do. So it just kind of enforces the ceasefire in one direction. And I fear that happening in Gaza.
Yeah, and a lot of people have said this. I mean, the other kind of dynamic that is so strange, and it seems like this happened potentially because of like some pressure from the Trump administration, like actually the incoming administration, like actually saying that they were going to put any amount of pressure on Israel. But I obviously don't trust the Trump administration, so I wonder what deal was made exactly and at what cost and what we'll find out. And that's not like
Yeah.
my unique analysis. That's based on obviously reading other people.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, like it's hard to imagine anything more horrific than what Gazans just went through. And so like I'm glad that there's a reprieve, whatever that means. It's not enough. It just like it shows you also, and again, like I knew this intellectually, but it's still so disturbing because there is such a normalization. Just like how much Biden wanted a genocide, like how much he just wanted like Palestinians to die.
Oh my God, did you see that fucking clip?
Of what him saying?
People trying to make it seem like he's in retrospect being like, I was duped or something like that.
No, I
or,
haven't seen that.
he's not saying I was duped, but he was like essentially saying that he told Netanyahu that he shouldn't be carpet bombing
Whatever.
Gaza, and then Netanyahu was just like, well, the U.S. did it in Berlin back
Right.
in World War II.
But I've seen this clip. But I mean, Biden doesn't even say you were duped. He just kind of like thinks about it, like, oh yeah, like as if that's a justification somehow, or these are analogous situations. Yeah, I mean, they just really, I think, wanted to kill a lot of people. It's really disturbing, and it's not it's just not something that is felt by equal weight by everyone, obviously, but
Yeah.
it is disturbing.
Let me ask you this, actually. A lot of people have been saying, again, I'm not saying this to like criticize the ceasefire or anything like that. I have my own feelings about like them hollowing out what a ceasefire means so much that I feel like I'm so happy that Palestinians in Gaza get a chance to,
and that they're
obviously go
celebrating.
back
If
to their
they're
homes,
celebrating,
and they feel,
and they know the risks, they're
Yeah.
not dumb. Yeah,
I don't think I
Yeah.
need to like go ad nauseum and like explaining that. However, it doesn't take away from the concern that there are no mechanisms of enforcement against Israel for violating any stated ceasefire. But a lot of people have been sharing the news of the celebration and all that, and being like, the Palestinian resistance held for 15 months and Israel was not able to accomplish a single military objective. And that, to me, my immediate reaction is, are we watching the same, are we live streaming the same genocide and ethnic cleansing? Like, what are we talking about here?
yeah. I hear you, and I kind of agree with you, but I also just feel like, I mean, I've also seen Palestinians. I don't know about you, but like I've seen Palestinian Americans posting that, and and I kind of feel like it's not my place to say. Like if they're just celebrating their resilience, that some people are still alive, and that is the kind of resistance. I mean, like
I get that there will always be resistance to Israel's occupation and to the ethnic cleansing and to genocide. I'm not trying to take that away. I'm not trying to say that everything is a failure on every front. But I think if you take stock, like it is also, it feels so much like cope or implausible, or like you're ignoring something to say that Israel accomplished nothing. Like, come on, they destroyed every single university in Gaza. 12 universities.
Right.
A extreme scholasticide of scholars and writers and people who kept the history of Palestine.
I mean, not everyone. There are still scholars and writers
Not
alive,
everyone.
but yeah, no,
Again,
absolutely.
but
huge
massive targeting
destroyed
of
all the
scholars.
hospitals. Yeah.
Hospitals.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think.
And they also took more settlements in the West Bank, which
Mhm.
are, I don't know, are those being given back? In the past, they haven't.
Right. I mean, but like, they definitely didn't destroy Hamas. I mean, that's the kind of irony of these kind of like.
That's true. No,
Yeah, I mean, if anything, there's probably more people willing to fucking sign up than ever
That's what
because of
they're
the
saying.
kind of brutality that they showed.
I have seen, or I have read reports, and I don't know how true they are, but a couple of reputable people have also mentioned that Hamas has actually recruited more fighters than it's lost.
Of course they have. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
But is
no
that also
no future for people growing up watching themselves be annihilated. Like how, like why is no one should be surprised by that.
Yeah. But I don't know. I haven't heard that directly reported from like a news source that is like getting
Same.
Hamas like
Yeah.
like
actual.
And also like that to me sounds like something that Israel might also want out there or said
A justification
to be like,
for future.
Yeah, to just be like, we're going to kill people because they
Yeah.
actually now they're all Hamas.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
who knows on that? I don't know.
Going back to, if you don't mind, going back to the Trump angle, like I just really don't know what to think. I mean, even like who is the guy who's going to be visiting? What's his name again? Man, I'm sorry. I work normally more prep for these episodes, but who was like Trump's version of Blinken? Do you remember his name? Oh, anyway,
I'm blanking right now.
fuck Blinken, but that guy, Trump's Blinken, is has said that like he wants to tour Gaza, like to make sure that things are being enforced in terms of the ceasefire, which is just like again so much more than the Biden administration ever did. And like to be clear, we cannot emphasize enough because I think this should be obvious, but I do think that there are people who will be like, well, are you pro-Trump? But it's like, no, Trump is a fucking nightmare. Like he's threatening to deport people after his inauguration on Monday. We're taping this on Sunday. On Tuesday, like he's an absolute nightmare of like a fascist moron. But I think it just shows like how fascist Biden was too, or at least how like war hungry, or at least how okay for like some people to die. Yeah.
Are you saying Marco Rubio?
No. Is Rubio going to be
Secretary of State?
No. Who's in charge of the Middle East policy?
It's not Kushner.
No, not again. That was so funny. I forgot about that.
I don't remember. I don't know the guy's name.
Can you hand me your phone? I don't know where mine is.
Hold on.
He looked Italian.
Massad Boulos?
I think so.
He's the senior advisor on the Middle East.
Is he the one that's going to go, just like look up him in Gaza, who said like he would go tour Gaza?
He's a Lebanese-American businessman who was the father-in-law of Trump's daughter.
Yeah, I think that's him.
Yeah. But also, people were saying that Kushner... I got to look this up to make sure it's not...
Fake news.
Fake news, yeah. Oh, no, it's in Lever News, Jared. Oh, shit. So, apparently, Jared Kushner doubled his stake in an Israeli financial firm that stands to gain from turbocharging Israel's settlements in Palestine.
Yeah, that's bad. But what about the guy who's Lebanese who's going to Gaza?
What about him?
I mean, that's something. It's not much. Look.
I mean, what's this guy touring Gaza gonna do?
I don't know, but I just am saying, like, the Biden administration just, like, refused to acknowledge in any way the humanity of Palestinians. Like, there has been such crazily shit mainstream American coverage of the genocide. There has been, like, I mean, they couldn't even get, like, a Palestinian American who was pre-vetted on stage at the DNC. Like... I think that like the Democrats are losing just generations of like Arab Americans and some Muslim voters.
I mean, yeah, that for sure.
Yeah.
I guess going back to my question, what are you say? Did you say how you feel about people kind of taking
I
the
don't
line that
think it's for me to say, honestly.
yeah
Like, I don't mean that in like an
yeah
obfuscating way. I
uh-huh
just kind of, that's how I genuinely feel. Like, I also, like, for an occupied people, what does it mean to be victorious? Like, probably
hmm
just to be alive, right? Like, I mean, isn't that the victory? Like, they want them all
no,
fucking
but it's not
dead.
about the Palestinian. It's about saying Israel accomplished nothing.
I mean, I think what a lot of Israelis, and not to like conflate all Israelis with their government, but what many Israelis and what the current government of Israel wants is for there to be no Palestinians,
hmm
right? They want there to be particularly no Gazans. They want Gaza to be beachfront property
Yes.
for their fucking strip malls. They
Yep.
didn't accomplish that yet.
Not all at once, but didn't they? Haven't they gotten a little bit closer to that?
I mean,
That
they don't own more of Gaza. They just turned it all into
sure,
rubble.
sure they do. If the financial markets are already moving toward taking property and building settlements in Gaza, and then also taking more settlements in the West Bank.
The Kushner thing is for the West Bank, but yeah, look, I
No,
mean, I
but
don't
there
get
are
what you're
also
trying
there
to
are
like.
also companies that are selling
Right, but nothing has
settlement
actually
property.
happened on the ground yet in Gaza, right? In terms of like, I mean, that would be a pretty big
I mean,
breach.
post ceasefire, who knows? Like,
Right.
I do think that's like a legitimate concern to have.
Of course it is, yeah. But I guess like I don't mean to be rude, but I just don't really get the point of your question or like what it accomplishes. Like,
Because I think when people say like, "Oh, Israel," and refuse to acknowledge that Israel did take several steps toward its ultimate end goal of erasing Palestinians in Gaza.
I think
Like,
they know that they were victims of a genocide. You know?
I'm not saying Palestinians. I'm saying like people here who are trying to spin it as if like Israel accomplished nothing, accomplished no military
I
objectives.
don't think anyone thinks that personally.
Yes,
I think
we
everyone
just
can
said
look at
that
the rubble
people
and
have
know
been
that.
sharing that stuff.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think people who are sharing that have a dissonance and don't realize that Gaza is like been completely destroyed on an infrastructural level, that it's going to like, I mean, honestly, possibly never be rebuilt within our lifetime to what it was before. Like, I think everyone knows that. I don't think that those two things are mutually exclusive, with kind of like claiming resistance and still being alive, and then also realizing the like depths of the destruction.
I don't think you maybe I'm not making myself like clear, but like I'm not saying that they're not able to comprehend the destruction. I'm saying that they're not able to comprehend that Israel did in fact accomplish military objectives. And I think to say that it did not kind of ignores the possibility that it this is like not over.
I don't
Right?
think anyone
Like,
thinks
not
it's
just the
over.
death and
I just
destruction
don't
is not
agree
over,
with the
but like,
premise of what you're saying. Like, yeah, I don't think anyone thinks it's over.
but don't you think that saying
No,
Israel
I don't.
accomplished zero military
I don't
objectives?
think that. I think it's just bravado to try and like claim the victory of still being alive. I don't think people actually think people. I mean, because to understand that the level of the damage is to understand that Israel, like, you know, had the prowess to do that. So I don't. Yeah, I don't really. I don't think anyone is like in the dark about like what's ahead.
I think they are a little bit. Like, if we're
And you
sharing
have
this, and
unique
our
insight?
analysis is that they have done nothing, like made zero movement. I think that
I mean, but like, again, like, not, this is not like a pro Hamas take, but like, is Hamas any less powerful now? Like, if we are talking
Yes.
strictly militarily, I don't know that they
Yes,
are.
for
In terms
sure.
of sheer amounts of like people who will be willing
I
to.
mean, I think it's too early to say. I don't think any of us truly know, but like certainly their fighting capacity has been reduced. A lot of their senior brass has been eliminated. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
but they'll just have
definitely.
new people take its place. I mean,
but how long would that take? You know, I don't know. Like, I
it's not a
think
conventional
this is-
military. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
guerrilla warfare. It's like they're not fighting the same kind of war. They're just fighting to survive.
Uh-huh.
It's not, yeah, it's like an asymmetrical equation.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, anyway, I mean, I don't have much else to say about this. Like, I don't really think it's a point that means, I think people understand the depths of the destruction.
It's not about the depths of the destruction. Yeah.
I feel like you're kind of just like going in circles, but I understand
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
saying I don't really think that means anything.
I think it's important how people are analyzing the situation. But okay, I'll move off
So
of it.
are you just saying because they are saying that Israel didn't have any significant wins, that they are misanalyzing the situation? You think that means they don't understand the military prowess of Israel and like the U.S.'s backing?
It's not just the military prowess, but it is about like how far is Israel along in pushing its ultimate end goal, and like did it do that in the course of the last 15 months? And to say no, it didn't, like it made zero progress toward any military objectives in Gaza, I think erases the fact that they ethnically cleansed hundreds of thousands of people. They destroyed a lot of institutions and institutional memory in Gaza. And the financial markets are moving toward investing in Israeli settlements in Gaza.
And you're suggesting that people don't understand any of that?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm hearing that, like, oh, like they, what else am I to believe from people saying they didn't actually accomplish anything?
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's more of like a victory lap for surviving. I don't think it means that people don't know the dangers that are ahead personally, but I don't really know. I don't know what people are individually thinking when they're posting stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess, sorry, last thing, and then we could move off if you want to, but I guess the one place I felt a little bit of a struggle is like, I was really hung up on like, oh fuck, the Trump administration had like a role in this. And it does seem like that's the case. And that is getting buried, that lead is getting buried in a lot of Times articles and stuff. And then I've even said people saying like, well, saying that denies like the agency of Palestinians, and it was their resistance that made this happen. And I was like, well, I don't think the Palestinian resistance directly made the ceasefire happen, but it's a part of it, obviously, because the same deal has been on the table since last May. It's the same deal that Hamas already agreed to. Israel just didn't agree until it seems like the U.S. finally exerted pressure. Mm-hmm. So like, I guess to recognize that there are other forces at play doesn't take away from the resilience of people on the ground, or at least it shouldn't.
I'm skeptical of how much the Trump administration actually pushed for stuff versus how much of it is
to make like
Israel wanting Biden to look bad.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's very confusing. I guess it could be a little bit of both. It's such a weird world we live in that we don't know. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to read media in this moment with a critical lens. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like even as someone who's really invested in that, it does feel hard. Yeah. I guess I hadn't considered that to the full extent. Do you think that's possible, that it was all just Israel trying to make Biden look bad? By like, they were down to cave once Trump took over?
I mean, they certainly never shied away from embarrassing him multiple times throughout this, with them being, that time when he was like eating ice cream and was like, yep, I think we'll have a ceasefire this weekend back in like May or whatever. And that didn't happen. And with them constantly saying like, oh, the Biden administration is not supporting Israel, and they're not our friends, even though he's constantly sending them weapons shipments and all this stuff. Like, just for like the minor finger wagging that he did, and like, hey, Rafah is a red line for us, which it wasn't, but even saying that, then Netanyahu goes on a media tear, just being like, oh yeah, Biden's anti-Semitic or whatever the fuck he was saying.
Right. So like he maybe just like allowed for months more of killing, like he being Netanyahu, just to make a point. And then like finally settle because it couldn't go on forever. Like I don't really get why settle now. Like that's the piece of information I feel like I'm missing. Like what changed,
Well, because I think he probably on some level knows that this is not a popular thing in the US, really.
The tides are turning a little bit.
And if he were to embarrass Trump the same way that he embarrassed Biden, Trump would then probably act in a way that would cut off military funding or something. I don't know.
So like the promise of Trump being a more erratic, less predictable actor, combined with maybe like I'd like to think that US pressure has done something of like actual citizens, because it hasn't felt that way. It's felt like yelling into a vacuum.
Yeah. I don't know, or maybe he just sees Trump as more volatile and like is like an unknown. And again, I think they've accomplished quite a bit over the last 15 months, and so therefore it's just like a calculus of like, all right, well, now we'll have some sort of ceasefire and then take more land, and that'll be that until next time.
Yeah. I really hope the Israeli state in its current form falls within our lifetime. I feel like it will. That's probably wishful thinking, but I just feel like more people than ever understand what a pariah apartheid state it is. And I mean, now also a genocidal state, or a state with genocidal intent. It's also going to be so frustrating to like see, and we're already seeing this, the like uptick in like more mainstream reporters who were like, we had no idea how bad it was. Like, there's already been a Times article that is like, death toll was thousands more than we thought. And it's like, motherfuckers, like Al Jazeera has been reporting, like a lot of people have been reporting, like you literally like the LA Times like fired reporters who were pro-Palestine or who like even wanted to give like more balanced or nuanced coverage. I mean, I feel like, sorry, I'm like going on a rant, but it is almost like boring to say at this point because it feels so repetitive in the circles that we're in. But I know that we're very siloed and not everyone is hearing it. But like, so many people knew what was happening and were trying to like call it out and were accused of bias. And then there have been so many biased actors, so many journalists with actual IDF fucking connections that have just been reporting absolute dribble about this.
Not just IDF, but like Mossad connections.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I think that's certainly what plays to Israel's advantage, is that people who know the history can very easily read the actions in the moment and try to provide that analysis. But obviously being able to, in like these, big media institutions, being able to report this stuff requires a lot of time and a lot of evidence. And so it takes years to write it down on paper and publish it. And the rest of us are just like, well, yes, that's what we were trying to say and give action, enable people to take action based on like years ago, and now it's too late. Like, we're just doing these.
But at the same time, and I know you believe this, so this isn't at you, this is at like some imaginary person, but like they still did post other stuff without fact checking it. Like, it's not as if they're against like posting pro-Israel content that's not well fact checked. But yeah. Like, if they moved slowly on everything, I'd almost be like, all right, but they moved slowly in one direction and quickly in the other.
Yes, yeah, the bar is like nothing apparently for reporting that benefits like the destruction.
Yeah.
Again, like the New York Times like screams without words story, and the babies in whatever.
Which even Biden echoed that.
And
yeah.
Even Harris did.
Did she? Man, I forgot that.
Yep.
I just feel like if Harris had been elected, I wonder if there wouldn't have been a ceasefire. I mean, there's no way to know, but I kind of feel like that would be the case.
Oh, she didn't give a fuck. Like, I don't know. You remember like when before election, they were like,
we're working so hard around the clock.
Hey, and like we were giving them like a 30-day deadline that is,
right.
I
forgot about
after the election date. But just know that if you vote for us, and what happened, right? What happened? Nothing.
Right. I just didn't think that like a Trump win was going to create a ceasefire. That's crazy. But maybe that was coincidence somehow.
And mind you, it's temporary.
Yeah,
it is a temporary ceasefire for 6 months, right?
It is, but any temporary end to the suffering is something, man.
I mean, I hope it will turn into a permanent ceasefire.
But that's a good point. It's not even like
But I also, like I was saying, I refuse to call it what they're calling it until we have a sustained period of Israel not bombing. Otherwise, it's not a ceasefire. It is
a pause.
No, it's just one-sided killing.
Yeah.
But I mean, even continuation of an extermination.
Even if it only lasts like 6 months, then that wouldn't have been much of a. Yeah. a win. Yeah, but I'm happy for Gazans right now who have like a moment of reprieve, inshallah, at last.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
you got to stop moving your microphone.
Sorry. Should we move on to lighter stuff? Anything else to say about that?
I don't know. It feels weird talking about the TikTok thing, but we can talk about it.
Oh, I have so many thoughts. It just feels weird because of like the juxtaposition. That's fair.
Well, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like the last time, like when the Super Bowl was happening last year.
Yeah.
And like Israel dropped like its biggest bomb fucking ever.
And everyone just talked
on
about
Gaza,
the Super Bowl.
and it's just like this like media spectacle about something that just doesn't fucking matter. But I guess it's important in the sense that people are paying attention to it. So let's hit it real quick.
Okay. Well, I will say the other kind of like pretty clear connection is a lot of young Americans learned about Palestine on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that was part of the reason why it got bipartisan support for being banned.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess not much to say. It's just been like a really weird whiplash, like again with like the very confusing what's happening with Trump stuff. Like initially Trump wanted to ban TikTok.
Just like initially Trump is the one who moved the embassy to Jerusalem.
That's true. Yeah.
Which arguably is one of the things that precipitated October 7th.
That's interesting.
Just with him trying to normalize
that?
Everything between Israel and the other Arab states and like making this move, and people were like, oh, they're about to throw Palestinians under the bus.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes. So like Trump arguably started both of these things, and then is
a messy
being
bitch.
hailed as the savior, right?
Yeah,
Which
and then like,
so
but then like the Democrats like picked it up to their infinite discredit. Some of them did, not all of them, obviously.
I mean, it was keep track of the votes. But
it was mostly Republican lawmakers, but like, I mean, Biden signed the bill, right?
I couldn't tell you. I would not.
And then I went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court upheld it. At least that part I'm confident in. But anyway, yeah, it just like feels like a weird media spectacle because it was like everyone doom scrolling because it was like going to be away forever. And then like people joined Red Note. I joined Red Note. It's actually really cute over there, which is like a Chinese app. Mm-hmm. And then the next day TikTok was back, and it did feel a little bit like just like a massive like psychological operation to like distract us all. It was really strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what it shows is just like how made up all this shit is. Like how made up what Congress is doing is, how made up the fucking Supreme Court is, even though the Supreme Court upheld
it got removed from the App Store. That's like the only thing that's been upheld so far.
Right.
But then like clearly Trump cut a deal with a TikTok guy to like make it that the messaging would be like, thank you, President Trump, for bringing it back.
Yeah. But he's not even in office yet, right? Like,
so that is weird. I mean,
I think like, oh, we think he's gonna.
The promise of like a.
Yeah.
It's the promise of like a overturning. I mean, they did. Because I deleted the app off my phone, and I can't re-download it. So they did uphold that very small portion of it for like people like me that randomly deleted it off their phone. You can't re-download it. So like something went into effect, but
I'm sure you'll be able to eventually. But like
for sure, but because Trump will overturn it, yeah.
But he's gonna do it through executive order, which is like. Can he do that, or like how long does that stick? And like
you can executive order stuff for anything. What do you mean?
There's got to be some sort of check on it.
Yeah, I think that there are surprisingly few though.
Just like when people were like, "Oh, Biden, you need to cancel student debt through executive order," like they had an argument against that.
He still could have tried, but
sure.
Yeah. I had more thoughts on like I do think some of the intercultural exchanges on Red Note are really sweet, but I think I'll save that for another episode. We'll talk about it next time.
It might not be relevant soon.
I still think that moment was relevant, even if it doesn't last.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you gonna stay on Red Note?
I don't know. It's cute.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
我们今生注定是沧桑。苦之来要笑着走过呀，朋友啊，让我们一起牢牢铭记呀，我们今生兄。